What's up, you guys? SlimXTeamSymmetry here to bring you guys a second episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Before I get into this, I really want to say thank you to everyone who enjoyed my first episode that I did on Dark Worlds. I didn't expect the segment to be that successful. I wasn't sure how people were going to like it, but you guys really enjoyed it, and I'm very happy to be able to continue this segment here on my channel. I asked for 150 likes. I got over 300 in a day. You guys are amazing, so thank you so much. So we've done Dark World. Now we're going to focus on Geargia, as you guys can see. The reason why I'm focusing on Geargia is that it was requested a lot along with Chaos Dragons, Agents, all that stuff. And don't worry, those decks are coming. This is just the next one I wanted to do due to the fact that it's probably one of the most played decks of the format. So I'm going to get into it real quick for you guys. Geargia have been dominating the format like a lot. They won the last YCS. They have been just popping up at regionals everywhere. They won LA regionals, and they're just a really interesting deck. Now, people are going to wonder, what is it about the deck that makes it so good? Everyone says it's Geargia armor, and this is true. Having a 1900 defensive wall that searches out cards for you is amazing. Being able to get to what you need is amazing, and it's just a really flexible deck. Now, the deck does have a lot of flaws, and I'm going to get into those as the video continues. I'm going to start with the good part about Geargia. The good part about Geargia is that Geargia armor is your ace, and you can get to it relatively easily. If you don't open with it, you can use Arsenal, use it as a lone fire, and get your Geargia armor. When your Geargia armor goes off, you're most likely going to win the game, if not be in full control the whole time. The thing is that Geargia armor will add a card to your hand. It's a +1, you can reset it, and you can just start going off with your combos. You usually search Accelerator, or depending on your build, you search other cards. Now, what I like about armor the best is that if they do Valor it, if you already have an Accelerator or another level 4 in hand, you can just summon that, and then you can go to your ace card, Geargia X, and just continue to go off from there. That's why I feel that this deck is really decent, is that it can get around hand traps that can really just kind of screw the opponent up and put them at a big disadvantage, because once you have the Geargia X out and you start going off with your other combos, it really does get into some crazy shenanigans. So the way that this deck can go is this deck can go two ways. You can run standard Geargia. The Geargia engine is simple: 3 Geargia armor, 3 arsenal, 3 accelerator. Then depending on the build you make, if you're making Karakuri, you add in Geargiano MK2, because this card is really good. You're able to special summon a Geargia from your hand or graveyard in face of a defense position. It's basically a tour guide. So really interesting card. And you can go the Karakuri route. The Karakuri route includes 1 strategist and 2 Saisons. Use them in order to bring out your Barreto and Bore, which are your amazing synchros in the deck. They work really well. And what I like about them the most is that this deck can spam a lot. Karakuri Geargia can spam a lot because of the synchros that are used and the combos used with strategists and you use with Bure and Barreto. They work really well, so I like them a lot. I think that these cards really do add a lot of consistency and a lot of explosive power to the deck. You can also go the Machina route, which is why I have it down here. The Machina route being Gear Frame, Fortress, and Cannon. You guys already know that Fortress is amazing. It punishes a lot of monsters. It has an amazing effect when it's destroyed or when it's targeted. Either way, your opponent's going to minus whenever they go against this card. Gear Frame searches it out. You search Gear Frame off of Geargia X, and you use Cannon to get the Fortress back. So it really is just an amazing part of the deck. Now, it all depends on what route you want to go. A lot of people like to beat down with Machina. A lot of people like to build field presence and overpower the opponent with Karakuri. It's personal preference. The thing with this deck is that you can include cards like Birdman to open up more synchro possibilities. You're able to use Thunder King to lock down your opponent. Hand traps or Valors and Gores. Very simple. A lot of this stuff is very standard. One of the reasons why I said the deck is really good is it does run a lot of back row. This is a lot of back row, you guys. Bottomless, Compulses, Warnings, Fiendish Chains, Torrentials, Road, etc. There's a lot of other cards you can include, but this was just the one that I had on file here on DN. So I feel the deck shines when it comes to having advantage and being able to overpower the opponent either through Machina or, like I said, through Karakuri. Now, what's bad about the deck? What's bad about the deck is that sometimes, like every other deck, you can open really shitty. You can open with really no plays, and it kind of sucks. Like sometimes you'll draw all spells and traps, or you'll draw like dead cards and not be able to do anything. You'll open a Geargia Arma, and that's your only play for the turn. If your opponent gets past it and you don't get to flip it, you're already losing the game. That could be one thing. Another thing is that the deck does kind of take some time to set up. Like, you need to set the armor. That's the thing. You can't make an aggressive play turn 1. Your most aggressive play is going Arsenal, tribute it for armor. That's about it. Aside from that, it doesn't have a lot of like broken opening plays. And also, if you run Thunder King, you can summon Thunder King. That's about it. Aside from that, it does suffer from that problem. Also, since it does rely heavily on its back row, if a heavy storm goes off and they really have no defense aside from out of Starlight Road, they can lose because you'll be able to overpower them and get past all their monsters. The thing is that this deck suffers from the ability of having very weak monsters. You guys can see armor is only 1100, Arsenal is 16, 17. Our Accelerator is only 1400. A lot of these cards are just very, very weak. That can be the problem. That's why people like the Machina version, because at least you have an 1800 beater and a 2500 beater to get rid of problem cards. Now, the thing is that one of the reasons why this deck can fail sometimes is that, like I said, you can draw really bad, which is like with any deck in this game, and you can also just not have the best plays. Like, sometimes you have to go into Geargia X, and if you can't protect it, like if it gets bottomless, you minus a lot, like as you took 2 monsters to make it. So I feel that that's probably where the deck suffers, is that it can draw really bad, the monsters are really weak, and if you're not able to protect your boss monsters, you probably will lose, because eventually your back row runs out. Opponents are really good at baiting out back row, so I feel that's where the deck has problems. So I feel aside from that, the deck is pretty solid. I personally do not care for the deck. I tried making it. I really just didn't like it. Maybe that's because I was running the Machina version. I do like the Karakuri version a little bit better just because of the field spamming, but I feel that a mixture between the two is really good. I like Karakuri, Geargia, Machina. I like the 3 decks combined. It works really well because you're able to do so many things. You're able to swarm with Karakuris, and you're able to beat down with Fortress and Machina. So I feel that's what makes the deck really flexible. And that's like my whole analysis of the deck, is that it is a defining deck of the format. It is doing really well. And, you know, outside of System Down and Cyber Dragon, the deck can only be stopped by other back row, and hand traps really don't do anything. Like, no offense, like, you Veiler the armor, okay, cool. Normal summon Accelerator, special summon Accelerator, make my Geargia X. You don't have the Veiler for that? Okay, cool, it's game. You know, like, that's where I feel that the deck shines a lot. Also, in its ability to make a lot of XYZs, its ability to make Shockmaster, its ability to bring back Synchros and really just overpower the opponent. I feel Scrap Dragon's really good, and the Karakuris are really good, depending on what build you make. And its ability to side cards like Fossil Dyna and cards like Shadow Mirror, and being able to shut down the meta with other cards is really good. It can also use Macrocosmos, which is amazing against Dark World, Chaos Dragons, Atlanteans, a lot of things. So I feel that that's why the deck does so well. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys like Geargia? Do you not like Geargia? Do you think that the reason why Geargia is topping is that people just did not know how to prepare properly for it? I don't think that's the case. I feel that Geargia has been around long enough now that you should know how to play against them, and you should know after about turn 1 or 2 what variant they're playing. So you have to be prepared for all situations. That's why I feel that people would suffer, is that if you're not ready for Geargias in either Machina or Karakuri or a combination of the both form, that's where you're probably going to suffer, because you're not going to know what to Veiler, you're not going to know when to Max C, etc. And you're not going to know when to spring your traps. I feel that that's why the deck does so well. But I do think it is one of the best decks of the format. It definitely has proven itself worthy as one of the top 5 decks of the format, and it's going to continue to do well. I feel that once other cards come out, the deck will be even more broken. Cards that come to mind are Tinplate Goldfish and other cards. Any support from machines is going to help this deck even further. But comment below and let me know what you guys think. Do you guys, like I said, do you care for Geargia? Do you not? Do you think the deck is all hype? Do you think that there are a lot better decks out there? Do you think that you really have to tech this deck out in order to do well? Like, do you have to main Thunder King? Do you have to main cards like, do you have to main Veilers and Maxis or just Veilers, etc.? Just let me know down below. I'd really appreciate it. Not being a Geargia player, this was the best I could do on this deck, but comment below and let me know what you guys think. I really enjoy making these videos for you guys, and I'm glad that this segment took off. So let me know what you guys think in the description below. There'll be links to 2 videos I want you guys to go check out, and thumbs up. I was asked to shout out these videos. I want you guys to go check them out for me if you guys don't mind. And I'm really happy that this segment took off. So comment below with your thoughts on Geargia. It'll help me get to understand the deck a lot more, and I feel that that will benefit us all in the long run. So that's all I got to say, guys. Thank you for watching.